think the lyrics are more vulnerable, maybe, than on the second album. I think we had kind of discussed as a band that like sometimes with images or with photo shoots or with music videos, it was like there's only so many combinations of me standing in the front of a triangle with like the boys looking out in different directions that you can do before you're kind of not saying anything anymore. It was more artistic to kind of have an image where it's like one person telling a story, and if Dan and Dot had been like floating in the sea in the background, it just would have looked like, it just would have looked kind of funny. But it is like, you know, a very vulnerable album, lyrically, and so the boys didn't mind, right?
No, I think it's been like, actually, it's been amazing, and like, it was really important to do that, and I think you can tell in actually the message of what people
He has to say that he doesn't mind.
No, I just saying.
I do genuinely do.
No, but I'm saying like I think in actually you can tell in interviews and the questions we get asked and stuff that like people, the message is really coming across of actually like what Hannah's saying in the album, which is amazing.
Do you think about me when you're all alone?
I mean, that's a really interesting point. I think that anything that I write is really my personal experience, but then just naturally as an artist, and obviously because I am female, I just, you know, there was this collective kind of experience that things that me and my girlfriends have been speaking about for years, so there just is loads of that in there, naturally.
I mean, this is probably sounds really cheesy, but I think the music is a reflection of where we're at as friends, and I'm actually really proud of just like our relationships between each other.
What he said, but also I'm just really proud that we're still here as a band. I feel like the music industry changed so much during basically our first album cycle. It literally like everything went online and turned into streaming and social media, and I'm just proud that we still have a fan base, really, and that we're able to release a third album, and you know, that's how I feel.
I think it's been a long process, and I think what's quite gratifying is when you speak to people. You know, we did a signing the other day in Fnac, for example, and you're speaking to fans, and I think there's a connection that they're experiencing with this album. I think probably a little bit more so than the second. There's something about it, I think, that maybe like they can sense that it came from a more sort of honest place. I think both like melodically and in terms of the production, and I think there's a sense of like, I think there's more escapism in this record than maybe in the second one.
I'm wasting my young years. It doesn't matter.
I mean, that's funny, like quite often when we started out, we were always compared with trip hop, like, it's funny, and then in a weird way now it's like almost could be more 80s, but it's like I think all of those things have always been a big part of what we do, and there's a natural progression about, because we produced a lot of this in like our bedroom studios, whether that's like Dan's attic or my studio or like Hannah's place. It's like there was a little bit more those records like Moby albums and stuff that we were always influenced by. Like naturally, that kind of electronic music is quite bedroom focused. It's like you have loops and you kind of, whereas the second one we were in a big studio all the time. This one, I think you're right, like does lean more towards that kind of like underground, like British electronic thing again.
I need to learn when this thing called love.
I think I'm quite picky actually with what I listen to. I feel like I like try and listen to a lot of new stuff, but some stuff I don't know. It's like I'll find like 1 or 2 or 3 albums that I'm like obsessed with that year, and then just listen to them on repeat.
Until like the CD's worn out.
Literally until the CD's worn out, yeah, and I know every word, yeah.
And I hope that you find.
Well, definitely KC, Musgraves Golden Hour, Taylor Swift, Folklore, Plastic Hearts, Miley Cyrus.
Now actually is a bit different now. I think like I consume music differently like now with streaming. I'm like, now because there's so much there, I just find myself jumping all over the shop. There's actually not so many albums I'll listen to like, you know, cover to cover, which is a shame.
Hold you until the end.
We hope they listen to it on Qobuz, so it's high res.
No, I do think about it a lot. It kind of is a slightly strange time for musicians, because you're also then put in a position, because of the way that people consume music now. For a while it was like, oh, is the album actually dead? And do you just need to release singles? And lots of artists started to do that for a while. I think it's just recently changed slightly back again. I think it is balancing out, but that was kind of a scary time for a band like us, because it's just not how we work at all, and we are kind of cyclical in nature, and it will always take us like 2-3 years to make an album. And
the true fans do love listening to like the album all the way through. I mean,
they do, but you can get left behind if then you're not playing the singles game, or you're not kind of following the algorithm that is popular at the time on Spotify. And I kind of hope that that maybe changes back at some point. I think it's fair to say. It's different world. I definitely have a complicated relationship with my singing voice, because I just sometimes feel like I have imposter syndrome, I guess. I don't think I'm very good, and I do find my voice is very unreliable. It's like, has a mind of its own, which I don't really understand. And if I'm like not feeling right, or if I'm feeling upset about something, or just like I'm just tired, I feel like my voice is just like, no, I'm not. So I don't know, I struggle with my confidence sometimes, and we probably also just overworked my voice as well in my early 20s, and definitely had like a few hang-ups from that. But I think it's improving.
Lord, it's a